The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. It's 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher.
Officers still are not talking about what happened on Kentucky Street last night. Our 17 News cameras captured this video in East Bakersfield about 12 hours ago. Two people were seen being taken away by ambulances. Several people online believe they were shot. We have placed several calls to KCSO for more information, but our calls have not been returned as of news time.
A 19-year-old accused of killing a teenager has been arrested. The shooting happened back in January in Wasco. Prosecutors say Juan Romero drove up to a 16-year-old on the side of the road and shot him 3 times. The 16-year-old died. Romero was arraigned in court Friday, where he pleaded not guilty to murder.
A man was killed in the middle of the freeway yesterday afternoon. It happened on Highway 99 near the Olive Drive exit. CHP says the man was trying to walk across the freeway when he was hit by a car. It is unclear why he was walking across the lanes, but the driver stayed at the scene and an investigation continues this morning. By our count, this is the 18th pedestrian fatality in Kern County so far this year.
An investigation's underway in Tehachapi after a student brought Benadryl to an elementary school, crushed it up, and handed it out to other students. The school district says the incident happened last Thursday, but they did not name which school was involved. There are conflicting reports about some students taking the allergy medicine and having negative side effects. The school district says teachers are asking parents to speak with their kids about never accepting unknown substances from others.
Well, just as we wrapped up our newscast yesterday morning, House Speaker and Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy was at the New York Stock Exchange getting ready to outline Republicans' debt limit plan. He offered few specifics, saying the coming legislation would cap annual growth at 1% over the next decade. The debt limit authorizes the U.S. to pay back money it has borrowed. If the debt limit increase is not passed, it could possibly cause the U.S. to go into default and risk our standing as a leader in the world's economy.
If Washington wants to spend more, it'll have to come together to find savings elsewhere. Just like every single American household does every single day. This will restore discipline to Washington, the budgeting, and to help put an end to reckless spending cause inflation. This isn't something to be played with. This isn't something to put a political game with. I'm not predetermining what has to happen.
Your time now is 5:05. An 86-year-old man in Oildale is being called a hero for saving the life of his neighbor. A mother says her son, who has schizophrenia, was hallucinating when he came to her home and attacked her with a shovel. 17's Marco Torres explains what happened next.
On Friday morning, KCSO was called to report of vandalism in a neighborhood on Barnett Street in Oildale, but deputies found a man dead, later identified to 17 News by his elderly mother as James Strickland. Eva Strickland says James came to the home with a large shovel asking for lottery money he had won. However, Eva says he's never won any money. That's when James busted through the metal security door with the shovel, and once he got through the door, he pushed her down and moved forward to attack. But that's when her neighbor, an 86-year-old man, intervened. He shot and killed James on the spot. Eva says she wouldn't have survived if her neighbor wasn't there at that time. This is the 28th homicide this year. Mental health issues can be tricky, especially those who are diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Probably the most severe mental health condition you can have is schizophrenia.
Eva says her son basically committed suicide by attacking her that day. If the neighbor hadn't stepped in, she says the police would have gotten him. Eva says he was acting delusional.
Delusions and hallucinations are the hallmarks of schizophrenia. High incidence of people with schizophrenia, about half of them also have a mood disorder. There can be substance abuse where they're trying to sort of self-medicate. About 5 to 6% of schizophrenics will die by suicide.
Marco Torres, 17 News.
Eva Strickland did not identify her 86-year-old neighbor. He has not been arrested and criminal charges have not been filed. Making news around the nation, Dominion Voting Systems' high-stakes defamation trial against Fox News is set to begin today. Dominion is suing the cable news network, favored by conservatives, for more than $1 billion for spreading false claims that its voting machines rigged the election in favor of Joe Biden. NBC's Drew Petrimo reports from Washington.
Opening statements in the high-profile civil trial expected today in a Delaware courtroom. The case pitting the Fox News Corporation against Dominion voting systems, centering around false claims made about the 2020 presidential election. Dominion supplied vote counting systems in dozens of states. The company claims Fox News personalities knowingly pushed false and wild accusations that it rigged the election for Joe Biden.
We cannot allow America's election to be corrupted.
This is an election nightmare.
Dominion is demanding $1.6 billion for damages to make up for lost business. Fox News says its broadcasters are protected by the First Amendment.
What Dominion has to prove is that Fox actually knew the statements were false or recklessly disregarded them. A number of people have said that standard is way too high.
Experts say the case is a major threat to Fox News, whose top personalities hold significant sway in American politics, especially among Republicans.
The clock is ticking for Fox on this because behind the Dominion case, there's another lawsuit filed by Smartmatic, another voting machines manufacturer, other legal pressure from stockholders. It doesn't get any better for them after this.
The case already revealed text messages between high-profile Fox anchors, ridiculing former President Trump and his legal advisors. The trial could cause more embarrassment for the network if those anchors and executives are called to testify. The trial is starting a day late. The Washington Post reporting the delay was meant to give both sides more time to negotiate a potential settlement. With no news on that front, jury selection is set to resume this morning in a trial expected to last 6 weeks. Drew Petrimo, NBC News, Washington.
5:14 News Your Time now. And California Attorney General Rob Bonta announced the arrest of 17 people accused of carrying out 11 shootings across our state. The violence stemming from a rivalry between sick gangs. Bonta says the arrests are the result of a months-long investigation involving 500 law enforcement officers. One of the shootings happened outside Sacramento just last month. Bonta says the investigation foiled 2 other potential shootings, including a parade plot in Sacramento. He also says 2 of the people arrested are mafia members, wanted for murders in India.
Mainly they show up places and try to shoot each other is honestly what it boils down to at the most basic level.
In addition to these shootings, authorities say the groups are connected to violent crimes dating back to at least 2018. That includes attempted murders across 6 different counties. Authorities say they also seized 41 guns as part of this operation. And as we've been reporting, a series of intense storms this winter left our mountains with record snowpack. Now the Central Valley is bracing for potentially disastrous flooding as the weather starts to get warm. But is it too late to get flood insurance? 17's Maddie Gannon has some answers.
With Lake Isabella already rising and the valley on the brink of a few hot days resulting in snowmelt rushing over Highway 178 and into Bakersfield. Some homeowners are scrambling to find out if flood insurance is still on the table.
Just the last few weeks, we have been receiving a lot of phone calls and people adding flood insurance to their existing policies.
I would do that quickly because there are parts of Bakersfield where the restrictions are going to come.
Farmers Insurance and Brightway Insurance agency owners Mary Davalos and Scott Harp say coverage is still available in the city, but Harp warns homeowners to act fast, pointing out there are already moratoriums in outlying areas such as Isabella, Kernville, and Pozo.
From the storms we had in January and February, there were flooding in those areas. Therefore, it's almost like getting diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and then trying to get health insurance.
Davalos says recently she has seen prices rise in general, adding the cost for flood insurance will vary.
$1,800, $1,500, $800. It all depends on the property.
Harp says he personally has not seen cost rise for flood policies, but agrees there are many factors that go into the pricing decision.
The age of the home, how the home sits, is it on a slab? Is it raised? Does it have a basement?
Maddie Gannon, 17 News.
The high-profile murder trial of Jacqueline and Trezell West, that is the couple accused of murdering their adoptive children, has officially entered its 3rd week. On the stand yesterday, search and rescue expert Tammy Sullivan. She says her dog is trained to detect human remains, including the scent of blood, bone, or bodily fluid. and she says the dog alerted her at a mound in the west backyard. The FBI dug up the yard, but they didn't find anything. This morning, Kern Community College District officials continued to remain quiet on the fate of a tenured Bakersfield College history professor. But 17 News has learned the board may have terminated Dr. Matthew Garrett on the grounds of unprofessional conduct. 17's Michaela Armstrong has been following this story and has more.
In a heated meeting Thursday discussing the charges against Bakersfield College history teacher Dr. Matthew Garrett, with more than 15 people speaking, the room was hugely supportive of Garrett.
I'm asking you to seize that opportunity, to stand up for freedom, to stand up for the First Amendment.
He's being targeted by the woke left to stop free speech in our county.
However, the board says Garrett defended vandalism at Bakersfield College. He falsely accused a colleague of racial harassment towards him and falsely called student housing low-income housing and distributed a flyer stating the housing project is threatening the neighborhood. Garrett maintains the claims against him are false.
To this day, your administration has not even attempted to identify any law, regulation, or assignment I have not completed with absolute excellence. My only crime is that I question the social justice dogma.
17's Michaela Armstrong reporting. We contacted the district and received a statement saying, due to legal and privacy restrictions, we cannot comment on personnel matters at this time. The board's next meeting is May 4th, and it could announce its decision on this matter.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.